particularly last night in the third quarter. But Dylan Cardwell continues to be kind of the silver lining to a really dreadful season. And in the process of that discussion, you mentioned Domantas Sabonis, who didn't even suit up last night. You said he might be playing his last couple games here in Sacramento. Can you elaborate on that, or is there a new nugget to know? Is that just reading tea leaves on him not suiting up last night? What are your thoughts here? Where are we going?
Yeah, I think very specifically the reason he didn't suit up last night, it's a return to play thing. Like there might be some like a little bit more to it, but like look, he just missed 27 games with a knee issue. He did not have surgery on that knee. And then, you played him 20 minutes the last couple of games and 17 minutes, and then you had a back-to-back. I think they're being cautious with him, and that's to be expected. I mean, he makes 40-something million bucks. The last thing you want to do, especially like 2 weeks before the trade deadline, is run a star-level player back out onto the court coming off a knee injury in a meaningless game, because let's be honest, these are meaningless games when you're 8-32 or 8-33. And risk
12 wins, sir. Okay.
12. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. But you risk, I forgot about the 4-game win streak. Yeah. So I'll go full Russell Westbrook. There we go. Yeah. I do think that, like when we're looking at this, it's not that big of a deal that he didn't play last night, but like this is the last game the Kings play in Sacramento until I think February 4th, the day before the deadline. Like he may never play a game again as a Sacramento King in Sacramento, because the trade deadline is here. And because you have two young players that just happen to play his position, that again, I don't think anyone went into this season thinking, hey, we got a second round pick and he's going to unseat Domantas Sabonis. And this undrafted rookie, he's going to steal all Domantas Sabonis's minutes. But I think Doug kind of like, it wasn't last night's game, it was a game before, when we started asking about like minutes and stuff like that. And he's very clear. Like, well, I mean, there's a couple of guys in front of him. I was like, wait, there's a couple of guys in front of Domantas Sabonis? Like, what exactly are you talking about?
That's wild.
And I think part of it is, that he's coming back from injury, and there's going to be a point where, if he's sticking around, you're going to ramp him back up to 32 to 35 minutes a game, and that's fine. But I also think that this team is moving on from a lot of their veteran players. And that's a tough reality for anybody, but specifically a guy like Domas that has made made a lot of money in this league as one of the top 15, 20, 25 players in the league. And, he's still only 29 years old. He's still under contract for another, not only this year, but 2 more years. So you're constantly like, okay, what exactly is going to happen here? And I think when you look at Zach LaVine's contract, you can't move Zach LaVine's contract at all. And we'll get to that maybe a little bit later. When you look at DeMar DeRozan, there's a possibility you can move DeMar DeRozan's contract. The Kings have tried to move Malik Monk's contract and ran into some problems. I still think between now and February 5th, there's going to be a market for Malik Monk if they decide to trade him. Dennis Schroeder, you can move his contract, but none of these guys are yielding you anything. Like, you're going to get salary dumps. You're going to get maybe second round picks here and there, but you're not getting first round picks. Like, I still believe the primary way to get a first round pick is trading Keon Ellis. Again, an undrafted player who can't break into your rotation, but around the league, there's a clear lack of 3-and-D wings, and especially 3-and-D wings that are available, and 3-and-D wings that are 25 years old who shoot 42% from three. And I think that there's a market for him, and the Kings are going to live in that market most likely and figure out what's the best option for them as a team. But when it comes to Domas, like, he still has enough cachet around the league that there's a possibility that you're going to be able to get a young player and you're going to get a first round pick when you trade him. Like, I don't know that you're going to get multiple first round picks, but this isn't like a Trae Young situation where they're just moving off of him to move off of him. The Kings don't have to move off of Domas, and they can figure out ways to play Max and Dylan with him over the next 6 months, over the next couple of months, and then figure out what that looks like next year and see if they can continue to build with a 3 big rotation of Domas and Precious and Max and Dylan. Like, there's a possibility that that's in the cards. There's also a possibility that someone comes to the Kings and says, hey, we'll give you the expiring contract of Kristaps Porzingis and maybe Zach Sachet, and maybe a first round pick. And
Mhm.
as the Kings, you're looking around like, hey, we need to reset this thing. And if
Mhm.
it's Domas who goes first, it's Domas who goes first.
Yeah, especially if you're going to get something of value. Like that's the key. I've always been in the camp that like Domas will have some level of value,
Yeah.
whereas with Levine, it's just like whatever you can get, I would take. I don't know that you're going to get it. Like you said, I don't know that there's a team out there that's just like, yeah, we'll just take Zach Levine. But I think with Domas, it's very much like a no. I wouldn't just give him away just to give him away for a salary dump and a second round pick. Like I think there's a team that will look and talk themselves into Domas being a missing piece for them. And maybe it is Atlanta, and maybe he does
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I brought up that Atlanta thing because there was a murmur like 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago of something like that. I don't know. I saw like a potential like trade that was put together, and it was like, okay. I mean, the numbers might work financially and
Mhm.
stuff, but and again, the reason why anyone, especially the Kings, would take on a guy like Porzingis is like very clear. The reason why they would take on Porzingis is because he's in an expiring contract,
Yep.
and you just move off of the money quicker. And if the Kings can do that 2 times, or they can do that 3 times and move off the money quicker and all of a sudden become a super young team building around draft picks and young players next offseason, and a
Mhm.
team that also like this coming offseason, but also a team that's able to take on some questionable contracts in order to get first round picks. Okay.
Mhm.
That would be a good space for the Kings to live in for a season or 2 while they
Yeah.
try to collect assets and rebuild their roster.
Yeah, it's just we've been saying this for years now, but like just pick a direction and take it.
Yeah.
Just not this one. Like whatever direction they're not going in a direction right now except backwards. But yeah, if it's uh, uh amassing cap space to accumulate picks, great. If it's amassing cap space to make a big trade, cool. Like whatever it is, uh,
Yeah,
pick a
and
lane and do it.
you brought something up there. I think there is something that people don't quite like. They always think that, oh, you're getting all these draft picks so you can draft a bunch of young players and start over with like 12 or 15 young
Mhm.
players. Sometimes you amass draft picks, you use a couple of them, you strike gold on 1 or 2, you build some other things around them, and all of a sudden you're a team who's ready to strike and has 3 or 4 extra first round picks that you can go and get some star level player that fits into the build that you're like structuring.
Yeah.
And so I think the Kings are in a mode where, can they take a calculated risk here and there? Yeah, they probably can. Like
Mhm.
if there is a way to go get John Morant for Zach Levine, and you're not giving up a bunch of extra stuff, like why not give it a shot? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but you're not prolonging like what's happening too long. I just
Mhm.
think that, there are other ways to build this thing out quickly, and it doesn't have to be like this slow motion, the process. And you're going to go into the top 5 of the draft 5 years in a row, hoping that one of them will be a superstar, and that's what you're
Mhm.
going to pin your entire franchise around. I think there are different ways to build a team, and that's where, Scott Perry comes in.
There are for sure, and it'll be on Scott Perry in the front office if they don't accomplish what they set out to accomplish here over the next couple of years. But I also want to caution that there's a chance maybe there just isn't a market for Domas
Yeah.
or a market that makes sense for the Kings to trade him. Maybe there's just not a market for Zach Levine, and you're in on Zach Levine for as long as Zach Levine is around, and Malik Monk, and maybe they're just not able to accelerate this.
Hmm.
You hope they can, and again, if we're sitting here 2 years or this time next season, they're like, "Yep, still got the same guys," and it's just another miserable year. You can be upset at the front office, but I also think that it's important to note that this might just kind of be the reality.
Yeah.
They might want to move off all these deals. They might want to do all this, and they might be stuck until those contracts expire,
Yeah,
which
or
are
at least
is
until
on the
this
table.
sure when they're shorter contracts,
Sure,
because as
that
you
are
get
expiring. Yeah.
closer and closer to the end of a contract, it becomes more and more valuable. Yeah.